Hey fam, welcome back. In today's video, we're gonna be playing with the Chocolate Martini palette from GlamLite, our last palette in the Happy Hour collection. And if you'd like to see how I created this look, go ahead and stay tuned. We're gonna get into it right now. So today we're going to be trying a look with the Chocolate Martini palette from GlamLite. This is the last palette in the collection. It's also the most neutral, but it's still pretty colorful as you saw from the swatches. I wanted to try to step out of the box today, create something a little bit different, try some new things. As you guys know, that's something I've really been enjoying, just experimenting with different techniques and different types of looks. And I think I have something kind of cool in mind for today's look. So today, instead of starting with the palette, I'm actually going to start with this little shadow stick. This is the Batter Up for girls who know how to play the field long-wearing eyeshadow stick. This is from the Balm and it is in the shade Slugger. It's like a deep, deep purpley plum shade. And I want to try a graphic liner with this. This is a product I've had for a really long time, but I thought with some of like the cool toned purpley looks in this palette, this could be a really pretty product to play with. So starting with the shadow stick, I'm going to create a kind of like a graphic liner. I want to start here in the front of my lid. Work this kind of up into the crease. I also want to pull this out from the outer corner. And I want to pull this across to meet up with that little wing shape. Thicken that up a little bit. And that's going to be our starting point. So now that we have that shadow stick laid down on both eyes, I will say it kind of changed color when I laid it on top of the base than the color it was when I swatched it. It looks almost a little bit gray when it was like a deep purple, but we're just going to go with it. I'm going to reach back into the palette, into the shade Dark Chocolate on this little skinny brush. And I'm going to start working this at the bottom of the shadow stick. I want to kind of get this blended on top of the cream base that we laid down. That's essentially why we used the shadow stick, was just to create a cream base for this color. I want it to be a little bit more defined, stick around really well. And so far that is layering on top nicely. I consider just kind of doing a more everyday look with this palette since it is the neutral one, but I figured there probably would be a lot of videos, or if you guys have this palette, you probably already tried some everyday looks with this. So I thought we would try to push its boundaries, see what it can do. So I'm just continuing to layer this on top of the cream base. And because there's a little bit of like a purple hue, a little bit of a cool tone to this brown, I thought that this cream base would be a nice choice. Okay, I think we have that like pretty much covered. So now that we have that shade laid down on both eyes, I'm gonna reach back into the palette, into the shade Irish Cream on this big fluffy brush. And what I wanna start to do is just run this shade above that deepest shade that we laid down. I wanna try to soften this. We're gonna add a bunch more colors. Hopefully it will all work out. But I want this to look to get a little bit more mauvey purple. I can't wait to play with the lid colors. I have this whole little idea in my head and I have no idea if it will actually work, but I figure it will be fun to experiment with y'all and just see what this palette can do. And this color is blending pretty well. I like the way that the matte brown laid down on top of that cream base. And you'll see it's a little harder to blend because of the cream base, but that's by design. I want that to stay kind of graphic and cool. But I think as we add some more deeper mattes on top, it will hopefully blend out a little bit better, be a little bit more of a gradient. And I want to do the same thing here on the sides and just sort of soften that color. And we'll go back and cut everything out, of course, but I like doing that after I finish blending all the colors, just so we have everything laid down the way that we want to see, and I think that looks pretty cool so far. Next, reaching back into the palette, I'm going to dip into the shade Girls Night Out, and I'm going to pick it up on this kind of round, denser, fluffy brush, and I want to kind of start where we lay down that dark shade, kind of right along the edges. I don't want to get this up into that pink shade we use because I want to use a different shade there. But I want to just try to work on seeing if we can create a gradient over this little cream base line and soften this a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with one more matte before we work on the lid. And then lastly for our mattes, I'm going to reach into the shade All Night, that really pretty purple, on this little skinny blending brush. And I want to try to bring this right above that cream base line, like into the pink, but not covering up the pink. And then going back with that fluffy brush we had the pink on, no additional product, I'm just going to blend this out. Next, I'm going to go in with the GlamLite icing base once again, and I'm going to do a half cut crease. And I'm also going to top that then with the NYX glitter primer. And then we'll move on to some shimmers. So now that we have the lid all cut out, I'm going to reach into the shade Extra Lit, this gorgeous sparkly pink shade. I'm going to use this flat brush, and I want to start by just packing this in the front of the lid. I'm hoping that this will layer nicely with one other shimmer in the palette. And I do want to go back and clean up that line that we made on the top with one of our deeper mattes. And then for the outer part of the wing, I'm going to reach into Chocolate Liqueur and just flip to the other side of our flat shading brush. And I want to pop this more so in the outer corner, trying to keep this from going over that line we created with that cream base. And then we'll pull some of that pink over this brown to blend the two shimmers once we have that all packed. Then flipping the brush back over to the pink side and grabbing a bit more of that Extra Lit shade, I'm going to pull this over the brown shimmer that we laid down, Chocolate Liqueur. So now that we have the shimmer laid down on both eyes, I'm going to reach back into Dark Chocolate, that first matte we used. And I picked some up on this little skinny blending brush, and I want to just work this against the shimmer to try to bring back that definition between the crease and the lid. I'm going to carry that the entire way across the crease, outlining the shimmer, and then we'll go back and blend with the other mattes that we used. Next, tapping into Girls Night Out. Same brush, I'm just going to blend with that shade. And then on the big fluffy brush, I'm going to tap between All Night and Irish Cream. And I'm just going to sweep this at the very top to kind of blend all that out. Next for my waterline, I did use this Batter Up shade from the Balm. This is in the shade Pitch Hitter. It's a little bit of like a lighter shimmery purple, and I put that in my waterline and a little bit under my lower lash line. We are going to add a little bit more to that area once I'm finished my makeup. But I'm going to go ahead and pop on this Lime Crime Venus liner in the shade Dahlia and the rest of my makeup, and we'll be back for the lower lash line. So I finished the rest of my makeup, and now we're going to reach back into the palette for the lower lash line. And I think, as maybe unusual as a choice it might be, I think I have to go with Happy Hour on the lower lash line. I think it's just such a neat color. I want to see what it looks like with this look. So I'm going to use this small pencil brush, and I want to just start this here on the outer edge of my lower lash line. And we're going to carry this the entire way across. I think this is a really pretty color, and it looks kind of neat with this look. Adds a little pop of something unique and different. And then in the inner corner, I want to reach into Vanilla Vodka, this pretty white shimmer. And this is definitely a duochrome that flips gold. I'm going to pop a little bit of that here in the inner corner, just to add something a little different. I'm going to run that down to the lower lash line just a little bit. And then dipping back into Happy Hour with the purpley blue shimmer, I'm going to pop that up against the inner corner color to blend. So I'm gonna finish off the other eye, throw on a lippy, and we'll be back for the final look. So this is the final look. What do y'all think? It definitely turned out a lot more purpley pink than a chocolate palette would typically lean, in my opinion, but I'm enjoying it. I have plenty of brown eyeshadows. I think these look really, really pretty, and I'm excited that I got like a really kind of cool look out of what was the most neutral palette out of the collection. I think this is really beautiful, sparkly, but I don't know, just it's special to me in a way. Like I love this pink shimmer. I think this might be, out of all the palettes I played with, the one I had the easiest time with perhaps. I think it's really beautiful. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below on this neutral look. I really like how it turned out. I'm pleasantly surprised. I had a lot of fun playing with the Chocolate Martini palette from GlamLite. I think the color story is really pretty in that you can create an easy everyday look, but you can also do something a little bit more dramatic and colorful. I played with a lot of the pink and purpley tones in this palette, but also the deepest brown shade, which also had a little bit of more of like a cool tone purpley look to it. I just think it's a really fun and pretty look, very dramatic, which is my preference. But I found this really fun, a lot more fun to play with than I would have thought initially. I'm really happy that I picked this one up. So far, I'm pretty happy with this one, I'll be honest. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. I thank you all so much for being here with me today. I love you all so much, and until the next video, bye.